Why?
You pull that trigger and shoot me.
Interesting facts about famous people.
Tough guy, James Coburn. When I think about actors that I would classify as a tough guy, I think of Coburn at the top of my list. James Harrison Coburn III, 1928 to 2002, was a film and television actor who featured in more than 70 films, largely action roles, and made 100 television appearances during a 45-year career. A formidable, rough-hewn in westerns and action films, such as The Magnificent Seven, Hell is for Heroes, The Great Escape, Charade, Our Man Flint, In Like Flint, The President's Analysis, Hard Times, Duck You Sucker, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and Cross of Iron. Today, we will take a look at some of Cogburn's action, tough guy roles. Let me know what movie you think was his toughest in the comments. If you enjoy this video, hit the subscription button to get my new videos. To check out my many other videos, head to my channel. The link is in the description. Here we go. Maverick, 1994, as Commodore Duval, a Western comedy directed by Richard Donner, starring Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster, James Garner, and James Coburn, based on the 1957 to 1962 television series of the same name, originally starring James Garner. The Western stars Gibson as Brett Maverick, a card-playing con artist who makes money in order to enter a high-stakes poker game, joined in his endeavour by Annabelle Bransford Foster, also a con artist, and Marshall Zane Cooper Garner, a lawman. James Coburn as Duval, Alfred Molina, and many other cameo appearances by Western film actors, country music stars, and other actors.
Set it up at that table right there.
Death of a Soldier, 1986, as Major Patrick Dannenberg, an Australian historical crime drama film starring James Coburn, Bill Hunter, and Reb Brown. It dramatises the case of Eddie Leonsky Brown, an American soldier stationed in Australia who committed a string of serial killings in May 1942. The investigation and trial, which was conducted by the US military authorities instead of the Australian civil authority, contributed to the development of the Union Code of Military Justice, but also inflamed Australian-American relations during the war.
Not guilty.
Listen, Captain, I want a line to Washington, D.C. right now.
Cross of Iron, 1977, as Feldwebel Rolf Steiner, directed by Sam Peckinpah, featuring James Coburn, Maximilian Schell, James Mason, and David Warner. Set on the Eastern Front in World War II during the Soviets' Caucasus operations against the German Kuban bridgehead on the Taman Peninsula in late 1943. The film focuses on the class conflict between a newly arrived aristocratic Prussian officer who covets winning the Iron Cross and a cynical, battle-hardened infantry NCO, an international co-production between Britain and West Germany.
Look, my new weapon.
Run for yourself.
Some ammunition.
Your hand.
Look.
Look what I found running around in the back. Little Russian fledgling.
Put it down.
The Last Hard Men, 1976, as Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, 1973, as Sheriff Pat Garrett, a revisionist western by Sam Peckinpah, starring James Coburn, Chris Christopherson, Richard Jekyll, Katie Jurado, Chill Wills, Barry Sullivan, Jason Robards, Slim Pickens, and Bob Dylan, about an aging Pat Garrett Coburn, hired as a lawman by a group of wealthy New Mexico cattle barons to bring down his old friend, Billy the Kid, Christopherson. Duck You Sucker, 1971, as John Sean H. Mallory, also known as A Fistful of Dynamite and Once Upon a Time, The Revolution. An epic Zapata western, directed and co-written by Sergio Leone, starring Rod Steiger, James Coburn, and Romulo Valle. Set during the Mexican Revolution of the 1910s, tells the story of Juan Miranda, an amoral Mexican outlaw, and John Mallory, a former member of the Irish Volunteer Army, after they accidentally meet under less than friendly circumstances. Juan and John involuntarily become heroes of the revolution, despite being forced to make heavy sacrifices.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Why?
You pull that trigger and shoot me.
Waterhole No. 3, 1967, as Luton Cole, a western comedy directed by William A. Graham, a parody remake of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Stars James Coburn, Carol O'Connor, and Margaret Bly. The cast also includes Bruce Dern, James Whitmore, Claude Akins, Joan Blondell, and Timothy Carey. It was the last film shot by Robert Burks before his death in 1968. Roger Miller performs the theme song and performs snippets of music throughout the film as a form of narration.
Oh, well, it's official business, Lavinia. I'll get the town council to pay for any refurbishments.
You're an honest man, John.
The Great Escape, 1963, as Australian Flying Officer Sedgwick, the manufacturer. An epic war adventure film starring Steve McQueen, James Garner, and Richard Attenborough, featuring James Donald, Charles Bronson, Donald Pleasance, James Coburn, David McCollum, Gordon Jackson, John Leeton, and Angus Lenny. Depicts a fictionalised version of the mass escape by British Commonwealth prisoners of war from a German POW camp during the Second World War. The film made numerous compromises, including its portrayal of American prisoners' involvement in the escape.
Ici?
Oui, monsieur, c'est ici. Alors, au revoir.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Pas de quoi. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bonne chance.
The Magnificent Seven, 1960, as Britt, the Knife Expert, a western directed by John Sturges, a remake, an Old West style of Akira Kurosawa's 1954 Japanese film Seven Samurai, itself initially released in the United States as The Magnificent Seven. The ensemble cast includes Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, Brad Dexter, James Coburn, and Horst Buchholz as a group of 7 gunfighters, and Eli Wallach as the main antagonist. The 7 title characters are hired to protect a small village in Mexico from a group of marauding bandits led by Wallach. Ride Lonesome, 1959, as Wit, a western directed by Bud Bodicher, starring Randolph Scott, Karen Steele, Pernell Roberts, Lee Van Cleef, and James Coburn in his film debut. This film is one of Bodicher's so-called renown cycle of westerns, made with Randolph Scott, executive producer Harry Joe Brown, and screenwriter Burt Kennedy, beginning with The 7 Men from Now. A murderer on the run, Billy John, James Best, is caught by Ben Brigade, Scott, a bounty hunter. Brigade plans to transport him to Santa Cruz to be hanged. Brigade stops at an outpost where he saves the manager's wife, Karen Steele, from Indians, and enlists the help of Pernell Roberts and James Coburn to continue his journey more safely. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the subscription button so you will see all my new videos as they come up. Take a look at my channel to see my many other videos. The link is in the description. Leave me a comment. Check out my Facebook page as well. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. I am Wrangler. Adios. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.